I'm in the Land of Lakes. So let's get started, and right off the bat I'd like to take you over to Dove's toxic influencer advice.
They're my total go-to.
Fake eyelashes are so easy to glue on if you cut your eyelashes
There's
off.
some really great pills you can use.
Keep telling yourself you're not hungry, you're just thirsty.
Never look bloated again.
Won't get into your skin.
Sexiest lashes, Botox.
Remember, skinny is never finished.
Okay, so let's set this up a little bit. They got mothers and daughters coming to a studio, not really telling them what they're doing. And the daughter says, yeah, I think the influencers on social media are very positive. And the mothers say, yeah, I don't think they really listen to that stuff. And then they've done deep fakes of the mothers giving the advice that you can cut your eyelashes off completely and glue on false. It makes it easier to glue on false eyelashes. Of course, the chances of poking yourself in the eye or cutting your eyelid or something else are really, much more likely before you when you put a scissors up there than if you never did it, which of course I've never done. And I'm not an expert on beauty, but I'm continuously amazed at the advice that comes out on social media for direct mail and for alternative medias and direct marketing in general. And that's why I come here. And no, this is not a deep fake of me. This is the way I look. I get up like this. Anyway, so let's play a little more.
Oh.
Well, wait. So anyway, the mothers never said any of that stuff, but that is on social media. And so then the daughters start talking, and they did.
Always be talking. And have Peyton know that she can always ask me anything.
My mom has taught me not to listen to people like that and to be proud of who I am.
I really like that. I really like that ending. So that's part of why I brought it to you today. But so Dove is, and I'm on my laptop as you can tell. So Dove is, now I gotta click something here, like that, yes, there we go. So Dove has put together a 3-minute mini movie like that, and Amy Houston tells us about it. And here's the story, which I will be posting up on WDMA.org. Here's one. Botox is amazing. You're never too young to start. They had this influencer talking about baby Botox, and even if your teeth are uneven, you can always file them down with a nail file. Bad idea, of course, because you damage the enamel and it may never come back. So anyway, and the girls admit that they see this advice online all the time. Okay, now let's get over to this. Direct Mail 2.0 has been honored as a 2022 Best Place to Work honoree, and they're somebody I talk to regularly. So Brad over there apparently has a great place to work. So I thought I'd mention that. I've been meaning to mention it, but the news only came out in the local paper. So as usual, this is not something you'd find normally if you were just working on your own searches. Okay, this was an interesting article that I kind of liked. This is by Simone De La Torre, and he's the owner and creative director of Sim7 Creative Agency. And he starts out with rising postage costs. Many marketers may dismiss direct mail as too expensive. And that is, at least he didn't start with, you thought direct marketing was dead. Well, he's going to get to that. But before we go any farther, I'd like to say, don't forget the WDMA Spring Meetup is this afternoon, and I'm going to be on in Minnesota and the style consultant should be on there also. So go over to WDMA.org. You've also gotten should have at least two emails. And if you're not on that list, be sure to tell me, because we used to be able to build it from my LinkedIn connections. You can join the WDMA group over on LinkedIn. If you look for Wisconsin DMA, yes, I know we're in Minnesota. We're in Illinois too. We're all over the place, in fact. Steve Falk just joined from Canada. So I think he's our first Canadian member. We should get some UK people. Anyway, so 2 o'clock Chicago time, if you know when that is. And I'm not going to go into all the time zones, but it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll be talking about mail, and we'll be talking about direct marketing and measurement and a lot of other stuff. So you might say, okay, direct mail sounds boring. It's the old guard, throwback to 1950s. It's actually more of a throwback to the 1850s, to be honest about it. In Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins, he says, you don't have to figure out what works. The direct mailers have been figuring out what works for 100 years or so, or 50 years, and he wrote that in 1920. So it goes back even farther than you think, Simone. Anyway, so he cites the Royal Mail study. 87% consider mail to be more believable. Direct mail is easy to measure. There's just a lot of ways you can do it. We every now and then we forget to put anything on there to make it trackable, and we take a drill press and put it a hole in the upper right-hand corner for piece B and a hole in the upper left corner for piece A, and we could compare by looking at the responses that got mailed back to us. Or you could even on the phone, or with digital, you'd like to have a trackable QR code. We'll get to that in a minute. So direct mail is really easy to measure, and one of the best things that you can do with direct mail is holdout testing. So you can say, okay, instead of mailing 100% of the list we're thinking of, especially a customer list, we're only going to mail 90% of it. And we're going to not mail some people, and we're going to see how they do unprompted the next month or two, see if they place any orders. And we'll compare all the people we mailed and see if they place any orders. Simple. And you can figure out your ROI that way. The reason that works is because 96% of mail gets engaged to. We know it gets delivered. We know it gets to the household. We know that it gets looked at, and we know it gets looked at by a decision maker. So when you don't mail, you can actually validly measure the lift, the incremental lift that mail does in the context of all your advertising. You don't have to turn off any other advertising. You can say, oh, people don't need to get mail. They just will see our other ads. They'll see the emails we send out, and they'll respond to that. Well, that may be the case. But before you go and shut it all down, like J. Crew and some others notably did, Neiman Marcus, you might want to try that test, okay? Because mail will give you that. Now, if you can flip it the other way, and you can say, well, let's mail 10%, maybe if it's a bigger file, and see what they do compared to the ones that aren't mailed. See, run it both ways. If you're thinking of doing mail, you can ease your way in. Right? See the incremental lift. That's because mail is so much more engaging than digital, basically. Okay? And you can use traceable codes, custom landing pages, pearls. Pearls are personal. Each mailing piece has a unique QR code on it, or it's basically the way we always do it with a QR code. And we were working on a piece like a co-op mailer, and it had about 50 different manufacturers and merchants in it. And we were going to mail 2 million pieces, which would have been 100 million personal URLs, all unique on every piece of paper. And so that was with Market Builder down in Phoenix, if you want to find out how to do that. Or you can call me, of course. You can also do augmented reality, making your page more engaging through that. I'm not as big a fan of that. I did look up AR, and obviously variable print data works, but you have to know what your segments are. That's the problem with all segmentation, whether it's digital or mail, is who are your customers and what are the differences that matter? Oftentimes, very, very difficult to know, especially if you're buying modeling that just churns out a model and doesn't tell you what variables are important. I did research on NFC because it's mentioned here. NFC means that you could take your smartphone and put it on the envelope and you could get a special message. But, you know, a QR is just as powerful. Basically, the research article I read said QRs are just as powerful and don't require the extra chip and attachment and all that. And plus, I don't think I've used on a credit card, you know, at the gas pump, I've used that. But I've never used one with my smartphone to bring up a video or something. So I would guess that that would be a big barrier. And the same thing kind of with AR is that I don't regularly use it on my phone. I did download Pokemon Go, I'll admit it, but I wasn't very good at it. Okay, so you can tailor your tact or your message to different audiences, but the important point is to know how to find those audiences. And machine learning is great for that, but most people don't have a good machine learning capability that shows them what's going on. So, you know, a fun article. I wish there were at least one case study of him or her actually putting together a mailing and how the ROI was influenced and improved, and even in light of larger mailing costs. But nope, not to be today. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. And don't forget, come over to WDMA. The Zoom link is in there. This is not going to be a wide open stream like this is. It'll be a Zoom. So get over there to WDMA.org. In the upper right, there's a little box that looks much like the one below. Have a great day.